I want to address one of the questions my students had for me, and that is, what's happening? What's going to come? And they all feel that there's something big coming. Not sure what it is. And of course, there's some people that have fear, and I want to share with you what it is. And it is in motion now. We talk about big events happening. There have been a series of events constantly happening. We're marking them. And it's an accumulation of what I call the tipping point. We're going into it right now. All right? I want to share with you what it is and want you to know that this is one of the most glorious times to be on this planet. And you chose to be here with me. Yeah, we're in it together, and there's a really great reason. And I want you to celebrate it and get very excited, but I also want you to prepare for it, okay? And I'm going to tell you in this video how to do that. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. Gotta have my coffee. All right, I want you to prepare for what's going to come and tell you what it is and tell you why it's happening. If you're in a situation where somebody's abusing another person and people feel like helpless to change it, there comes a tipping point when people will do whatever it takes to change it because the alternative of staying in that situation is not acceptable. And so people will actually put themselves in harm's way and possibly, sacrifice themselves to change a situation. That's not what's going to happen, by the way. But that is, in essence, what's happening with us, is that people figure that how we've been living is so insane and it makes no sense that whatever happens absolutely has to improve what we've been going through, because we're saying no. Not because we're just going to go into whatever. We're going to go into something that we feel good about and it makes sense. Now, what am I talking about here? Everything. Everything. From our government systems to our finances, to our food supplies and how we create that, to our health and well-being, to our communities, to how we function, to our transportation systems, to our planetary, lack of respect is going to shift into understanding that everything is alive and equally as important, and that we must find a way to live together in total respect, and that if we don't do that on the highest level, we talked about the 20 years, then we will go down in a spiral, and then we'll have to go recreate something again. We don't want to do that. We are here to do a job, and we can do this. We can pull this off. I feel that it is happening. So one of my students, she said, well, so basically, is it improving? Is it getting better? Well, I'm going to ask you, what do you think? Because chances are pretty good if you don't think it's better. You are exposing yourself and directing your focus to the BS out there. Media is made up. Media is 100% made up. The only time you get any facts is if it's obviously blatant. We can't avoid it, but there's always a spin on it. And we're shown things according to what serves our governments or whatever else is going on out there. And it's starting to end because people, even the people who have that duty of sharing their information, are getting tired of the lies. I know some of them, by the way, who told me, you don't cross that line, your career will be done, you might even disappear, you do what you're told, and most of them just get out of the business. Well, that's not the answer. And that's what's happening right now. People are saying, okay, I have to be the change maker. You're going to see people standing up at their own risk of, those who are going to oppose them, who are still in the material world that want things to be controlled. You're going to see that happening a lot. But it's not going to be that dangerous place that we used to go into, burning witches at the stake kind of thing, and nobody speaks It's not happening anymore. The majority of people are actually saying it's not okay to live like this. Why? Because we got shook up, and if we had not gone through our health crisis, we'd still be walking around like zombies in the Matrix, just surviving and trying to save for my vacation or whatever. I want you to know you have nothing to panic about. You don't have to be chasing. And so the material world, the ego is still going to say, where should I put my money, Landria? What should I do? I'm telling you, that's exactly what we're going away from. And your concern and your panic and hoarding and all that stuff is part of that world that you're going to stay in if you go into that mentality. All right? You are indestructible. You're indestructible. What you're seeing out there that you might be fearing has to always change. It's always changing. You, the spirit, the perfection that came here, created all of that. You created this, you're creating that. We're all creating it together. So as a collective, we get to change all of it. We can change all of it. But not if you're going into fear and still thinking the material world has to be controlled and I protect me and what. Get out of it. Snap out of it. Right? Spiritual butt kick. Yeah, you got something bad to say? Shut your pie hole or go to one of those conspiracy theory channels, which you might be addicted to. And I know people have come back to my channel because they said, oh, I was listening to this and then this and then this and it doesn't feel good. No, it's meant to put fear in you. So those people who think they're doing good things could possibly be doing more damage because you think they're good, righteous, spiritual people. And it's not that they're purposely trying to scare you. It's that they're in their own density. We're all individuals, no one higher than another. So don't ever put somebody up on a pedestal thinking they have the answers, including me. Because I know I don't have the answers, not as a human. That's the whole purpose, is to not know everything and to function here in the material world and to know the imperfection and limitations that allow us to know the perfect light beings that we are. When we figure out that's what we are, we stop being limited. Are you ready to go into this? So I'm going to give you some things to focus on. Do not hoard. Hoarding creates a problem. So if there is no situation out there and you start hoarding and somebody else starts, then you create the situation. No hoarding can save you. Nothing can save you. You're indestructible anyways. So anything you do would be fear and panic on a low level, and that's exactly what you're going to create for yourself and others. All right, so how do we get past this? So there is nothing wrong with having a safety catch of things. Now I'm going to give you an example of what is so insanely stupid that humans do. This is pure stupidity. Okay. My ex-husband, I went into, when we got married, I saw this stash of things in this, he had this storage area of water and rice and all these things. Of course, what is that? That's just, obviously he was listening to some BS. Hadn't happened, never did. And so that was a long time ago. And so what happened? He has the stash. And eventually, the water bottles, the plastic water bottles, that's real healthy. It's leaching into the waters. They cracked, and water was all over the place. Bugs got into the rice. Everything was completely destroyed. Perfectly good food got destroyed. It created the opposite effect. First of all, you don't hoard. Second of all, get a few extra things, just a few extra things. Don't be, stashing all this. Cans burst. Bugs get into stuff. So what you do is you have a few extra items, just a few extra items, and you rotate them. You always have a few extra. If anything happens, you have a little more coffee. I always have a couple extra bags of coffee. That's it. That's it. If I have to go without coffee at some point, I will survive. I'm sure my neighbor will invite me in. You get a few extra things, you just stash it and you rotate it around so that you have something fresh all the time. You don't put anything in plastic. It's going to leach in. You're going to poison yourself. You don't get cans or anything that could go bad or destroy. Did you know that there's toxins in those cans, that there's plastic in there? They have to. They have to coat the interiors. I don't eat anything in a can unless I absolutely had to do it for a recipe. I want you to think sparsely and simple, all right? So I want you to start getting rid of the things in your home that you don't need and giving it to other people who need it. I want you to start giving to other people randomly, and you're going to create a completely different world that starts to act as a community and not in fear. I was gassing up my car, and a man who obviously was homeless started talking to me, and I said, listen, I've got a card here, so I don't know what you want me to do. And I couldn't understand what he said. And I said, come on, I'm going to walk in. How about food? Yes. Great. So I walked him into the gas station, and I said, get whatever you want. He's going, this? I said, yeah. And this? I said, yep, get it all. So he got a couple hamburgers and a big, submarine sandwich and a big gulp. Not that that's healthy. And I called him a gentleman. I said, I'm buying for this gentleman. And I opened the door for him and let him out. And we're going to have to start acting like that right now. You don't wait. Because everybody's going to be in situations that are going to test you. And you don't have to fear it, because we will have plenty. We think we have lack when these things happen, when there are shortages and stuff that we've had before. We panic because we're so used to having excess that's not needed. So we must start living a simpler, happier, healthier life of the things that we need at the moment, and a few extra things for a little bit backup. And hoarding will not be something that we're going to do, because it creates the selfish me. I'm going to get as much as I can so I can survive. And that's a fear mentality, and that will pit people against each other. It will create conflict. Don't go into it. We do not have to teach our children lies. All right? We can expose them to what is healthy. They do not have to have the latest stuff and destructive games. That's your choice. You have to say no and start making wiser choices. You will not be a part of the new earth. This is getting very serious, by the way, because you cannot hide or fake this. You're either contributing to the new planet that's healthy, or you're not. And if you're not, you will reap the repercussions of that. Not because you'll be punished, but it's just cause and effect, right? If you eat garbage and you don't exercise, you're not going to be healthy. You have to act and be that which you desire. It's just that simple. It's neither good nor bad. It's just cause and effect of your own choices. So you have to ask yourself, what world do you want to live in? All right? And it's not going to be perfect. We still have to, get ourselves out of this whole use of things that are not good for us or the planet. You have to make the best possible choices at the moment. So I have some things down in the description. One is my influencer store, where I don't use any plastic containers coming in for hand soap, washing that. And think about this. So if we go into any shortages, I have little packets in paper that I can wash my hair for months and months and months, because I need less. We're going to go to that world, and we're going to realize, wait a second, it's more effective. So what I want you to know is, not prepare for disaster, but to have yourself in a position where, if there is a time period where we have any natural disasters or things, you have a little bit of your backup to get you through. There will be plenty. Community will take care of one another. We're going to go into that. There's going to be plenty. I want you to know that, all right? It's how we live that has to accommodate that. You have to go into the simple lifestyle without excess and craziness, all right? And you can love beautiful things. It's not that you can't have these things, but just ask yourself right now what's truly important and what's the world you want to build. If you're going to use or doing it, Digital Explorers is coming out soon, and I'm teaching people how to create spiritually conscious businesses. In other words, you should be making money, but none of it should harm a planet, a person, yourself, or stress you out to the point where your family's, not happy with you. None of that should exist. If you have ideas about how to keep yourself healthy without using chemicals, how to clean your house, new inventions, whatever it is, we're going into it right now, and you could flourish. You could be the happiest you've ever been in your life. You could have help. You can have happy, healthy relationships. You'll start taking care of your body and eating healthier. You'll have more energy than you ever imagined. You're going to look younger. You're going to be happy. You're going to find yourself laughing. And you're going to think, wait a second. I thought the world was going to hell in a handbasket. It's actually going into this beautiful, pure space where we don't need a lot of stuff. Life is simple and happier, and the energy field's clearing right now. It is absolutely clearing right now, which means change in all these other areas is going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people because a lot of people cling to things they know. None of it's been good. Your banking hasn't been good. Our stock markets, none of it's good. There's so much in there that just isn't right, and it has to end. Nothing should be a cycle. Why do we have economic cycles? That should never happen, right? How can it crash? If it's working, it should never crash. That's going to start to dissolve. There will be new ways put into place. And it's not that we're going to struggle and suffer and have nothing. We're going to have better systems. We're going to have people making better decisions. We're going to have change makers stepping forward and introducing new ways to clean up the environment, to be healthier. And it's going to be accepted, and you're not going to have to worry about, being taken out by a sniper who doesn't want them to make money off of it. You can do it, all of it. So it's already happening. I actually was out yesterday and I saw it. And I realized that other people didn't see it. And if they did, they're not acting like it. And I thought, this is good. We're going into it, and people are not reacting into this panic, and people are not reacting in this overreactive way. They're just rolling with the punches and realizing that, you know what, whatever we're going to go into, we're going to work together for solutions to make sure that everybody has everything they need. So, this is the time period of change. You have to focus on one thing, the positive contributions you can make. And when you are creating, you're going into a high frequency, expansive space. All right? You're going into a positive space of joy, because when you're focused on that, you're not focused on the negativity that you think is negative that isn't at all. This is happening, they're doing this and that. Who gives a, really seriously, who gives a flying whatever? I really don't care. And I'm not afraid. And we talked about AI also in one of my classes. And I said, I'm not afraid of it. I'm going to use tools in the most positive way that I can. If somebody uses it in a negative way, I cannot control somebody else's decisions. I can only control mine. And if I'm not using things because I fear it, then I'm not utilizing the beautiful tools that we have out there for positive change, all right? And it's a choice. One of my students said it's just his intuition to not use it. I said, go with it. It's neither right nor wrong, but I'm building an entire business where I'm going to use artificial intelligence assistance to accelerate amazing positive things that we can do. Others will use it in a negative way. That's how everything has existed on this planet. It's not the tool, it's the user, right? You can take a blade and you can cut up an apple with it, or you can stab somebody with it. It's not the blade that's a problem. So do we eliminate blades? No. We change our environment. We change our community. We're going into it. It's tipping right now. It's tipping right now. And it's a very positive thing. I want you to know you're going to see people standing up And they're not going to be in fear, and they're going to say, great, this is good. We needed this because we had to go into this. We had to have our world shook up to say we are not zombies anymore. How is it possible that any company, any business is allowed to do something that could harm the planet, people, or animals? How is that allowed? How are we allowed to buy chemicals and put it on our lawn? And we know it's poisonous. It kills things. So it's killing us. How was that ever allowed? That's the human mentality, the low frequency. None of that should ever be allowed. If it harms anything, it should never be allowed. Ever. I want you to think about what you're doing every day. If you're doing anything that harms anything else, you got to start making different decisions. It may take a while. You got stuff in your house, right? All right, just start to make the transition. It's not your fault. Right? We've been walking around this matrix like zombies. We just accept it. This is just how we live. We pollute our planet. We poison ourselves. We eat chemicals every day. That shouldn't be allowed. It's changing. Do not be afraid. What's there to be afraid of? I mean, I said to one of my students, I said, AI. So if it's, if the final outcome is that we decide to use it in a negative way, just like we did with the atom bomb and nuclear power, if we decide to use it in a negative way, then that's it. I'm not going to concern myself over. I'm only going to concern myself with this, raising the frequency of the planet, one light beam at a time. That's my assignment. And through that, I change everybody around me. And then if it changes you by your choice, then you change another and another. And then we wouldn't even think of using anything like AI or nuclear power to do anything destructive. We wouldn't even think of it. It is not the tool, it's the user. It's your choice. Everything's your choice. It's not the words. It's the user of the words and the choice of the user. Words are not destructive. It's how you use them that creates that destruction. All right? Words themselves, yes, powerful. But who's the source of them? You are the creator. You're a creator. So I want you to simplify your life, clean up your diet, give things to people, give to charities, start to interact with your community more, start to get ideas. You're going to feel really good about that. The more you go out in the community doing positive things, the more you're going to feel very good and hopeful that we are making positive changes. I already know we are, but if you're not convinced, go out into that public with those groups that are doing positive things. Go on the beach and clean it up with your neighbors. Sit and figure out how we can, change how we can change the systems, to be cleaner and healthy. I want you to participate in it. Be part of that community. And get ready, there's some stuff coming out. My book's coming out, and I'm interviewing, my book, Breakthrough Fear, is coming out, and I'm interviewing Christina Mond-Lakiani. She's a co-founder, along with her husband, Vishen Lakiani, of Mind Valley. $100 million company doing really amazing stuff. They're cool people. And her book, Becoming Flawsome, is coming out. By the time you see it, it probably will be out. I'm going to interview her in a podcast and on my channel, and we're going to talk about how we're discovering that it's okay to be flawed, that that's the whole human experience. And it's just choices. We just get to make choices, and without the presentation of those opportunities that seem to be challenges, negative, we don't get to make positive choices. It's just that simple. All right? So I want you to start living that life right now, not in fear, but in preparation of a new world that's beautiful, that you will have plenty, you will have everything you need. Clean up your diet, get rid of the junk food, stop going to fast food restaurants and poisoning everybody. And, they're supplying stuff that's not good for us, and you're putting it in your body. We got to start thinking, start using the old noggin here. All right, I'm going to talk more about this, and I'm going to be a little bit more specific. I don't want people to go into fear, so I'm very careful with what I say because it can be interpreted in a very negative way. And I'm going to tell you right now, none of it's negative, none of it. It's the transition of the planet to something really beautiful that we've never seen here, because it's about our mentality and our power, our creative power. Instead of us just functioning in the material world, we're going into a completely different era where we're tapping into what we are, perfect creators. We're going to exist like that. We're going to be able to, at some point, stop talking. We're going to know each other's thoughts. You won't have any bad ones, so you won't have to worry about it. All right, so I hope that you will subscribe. And come on over if you guys are interested in the free video series, How to Create an Online Business. Mine will be coming out. Mine's very different from this. This is ABC, you can do it. Mine's going to be specifically for spiritually conscious businesses with all the resources for that, and I will announce that in detail here shortly. You guys, this is all free, plus you can sign up if you want to take one of my classes. I'd love to see you there. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.